My name is Alex Morgan. I'm 31 now, but this happened when I was 19. I've carried it with me for over a decade, and I've never told anyone. Not my parents, not my fiancé, not even the priest I see sometimes when the guilt gets too heavy. I tell myself it wasn't my fault, but deep down I know I should have stopped it. Maybe if I write this down, someone else will understand. Or maybe I just need to know that the Hollowhurst Institute didn't swallow me like it did the others. But I also know this. If anyone tells you to go there, don't. No dare, no thrill, no amount of money is worth what waits inside. Hollowhurst Institute wasn't just an abandoned hospital. It was the crown jewel of every horror story in our town. Built in 1924 as a psychiatric facility, it closed after a fire in 1968 that killed 17 patients. Or at least, that's the official number. Locals said it was higher. Some whispered over 50. And no bodies were ever buried. My friends, Mark, Tyler, and Jess, were the kind of people who thrived on proving they weren't afraid of anything. One night, summer before college, we were drinking by the river when Tyler dared us to spend a night inside Hollowhurst. You walk in, find the burned wing, and bring back proof. Simple. I didn't want to. God, I didn't want to, but I also didn't want to be the coward. So I said yes. We arrived just after midnight. Hollowhurst stood against the trees like a mausoleum, its charred stone walls blackened and cracked. The windows were jagged holes, and the roof sagged as if the whole building was exhausted. We slipped in through a side door. Inside, it smelled of mildew and ash. The air felt heavy, like it hadn't been breathed in years. Our flashlights cut through dust that swirled like fog. Wheelchairs were overturned in the halls. Beds were still made with stained sheets. And the silence was worse than any sound. Every step echoed like it belonged to someone else. We reached what must have been the administrative wing. Filing cabinets lined the walls, drawers hanging open, papers spilling onto the floor. Some of the files were scorched from the fire, words blackened beyond recognition. Jess picked up a folder. Patient 42, Eleanor Vane, admitted for night terrors. She read aloud a note that made my stomach twist. Eleanor insists she does not dream. She insists something visits her. Claims it follows her even when she wakes. Staff report waking screams at 3:03 a.m. nightly. The last page was handwritten. Do not let her sleep. As Jess read that, the clock above the desk, broken, missing its glass cover, ticked once. Just once. We froze. Then Tyler laughed. Place is trying to scare us. Nice touch. But the clock kept ticking. The further we went, the colder it became. By the time we reached the burned wing, I could see my breath fogging in front of me. The walls here were blackened, paint bubbled and warped. Doors hung loose on hinges, leading into rooms where beds were fused to the floor with melted metal. We found the fire's epicenter, a long hallway with collapsed beams. On one wall, words had been scratched deep into the plaster. Not painted, scratched. Wake US, Jess whispered. Guys, this wasn't here in the 60s. At the end of the hall, we found a room that didn't belong, what looked like a nursery. Cribs lined the walls, blackened with still standing. The mobiles above them were melted, little figures fused into grotesque shapes. And then we heard it, a lullaby, soft, humming. It came from the far crib. Mark, trying to be brave, walked over. He shined his light inside. Empty, but the blanket was rocking, slowly, as if something invisible was gently swaying it. Then, from the darkness, a voice whispered, "Go to sleep." The blanket stopped moving. We panicked. Tyler said we had to leave now. We turned back down the hall, but it wasn't the same. The walls were wrong, warped, bending inward like the building was alive. Every turn brought us to another hallway that didn't exist before. Mark sprinted ahead, screaming that he saw a way out. But when we caught up, he was gone. The hallway was empty. Jess sobbed. Tyler shouted his name until his voice broke. That's when we heard it. Mark's voice, faint, echoing. But it wasn't calling for help. It was laughing. The halls led us downward. We didn't mean to go there, but it was like the building wanted us to. The air grew damp, dripping water echoing off the walls. We found an iron door chained shut, the word Ward C stenciled above it. The chains rattled on their own. Then the door opened. Inside was a basement ward, rows of beds with leather straps still attached. And on each bed was an impression in the dust, like someone had just been lying there. Jess dropped her flashlight. In the stuttering beam, we saw shadows sit up, one by one. We ran. God, we ran. But no matter where we turned, the shadows followed. Long arms, faces pale and eyeless, whispering in voices that weren't human. Jess tripped. I swear I tried to grab her, but something pulled her back into the dark. She screamed once, then nothing. Tyler, and I made it to the stairs. But at the top was Mark, or something wearing Mark's skin. His eyes were gone, just empty sockets leaking smoke. And when he spoke, it wasn't his voice. It was a chorus, 1,000 whispers at once. Sleep. I woke up on the grass outside, the sun just rising. My clothes were covered in soot. My shoes were wet, like I'd been standing in water. My flashlight was gone. Tyler, Jess, and Mark, they were never found. The police said they probably got lost in the woods, maybe ran away. But I know better. Hollowhurst keeps what it takes. And sometimes when I close my eyes, I hear that lullaby. I don't sleep anymore.